third party?
Yes.
No, but I'll go back. Yes,
We're
this
on.
meeting is being live streamed. Yay!
Yay.
Good evening. We're here. I know you thought you'd never see us again, but by golly, here we are.
Resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm Wendy. It's been quite a while, and we've got Jake over there in the corner,
Hi, folks.
being our technomancer again.
I've used evil magic to bring us forth on Facebook this evening.
Yay! Facebook is its own evil magic.
It totally is.
Good point.
Mhm,
Good
mhm.
point. Let me get these glasses off here.
Same until I have to put them back on.
I know.
Necessary.
So kids, we have ace astrologer Cindy McKean here. Did you know that she predicted the Chiefs win? Twice.
Yes. Yes. She is. What about the previous year?
Oh, I wasn't, I was just asked by clients, but not like on an official basis where I really totally tuned in. So
Mhm.
I didn't really tune in to previous years. But
Okay, I'm seeing us all. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull these screens up and keep everybody in line here. Hey, Chris, hi. Our alternate technomancer, Chris Chrisman, works with our friend Orlando Sanchez and what is that? Help me, Chris. Peaches Publishing. I know it's not Peaches Publishing, but
it sounds
anyway. Yeah. Anyway, well, we're here tonight. We thought we would do a little fun stuff. Cindy had made some postings about the Kansas City Chiefs and Valentine's Day, and I thought, well, heck, we'll just have her on, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have quite a year coming up with us, obviously, right? So I mean, just to begin with, it's an election year. So even without the astrology, we already have a lot of volatility. And it's kind of interesting because, we do have to bring the astrology in at some point because we have to look at other parts of the world, like what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, the elections in Indonesia, the elections in Pakistan, the Israeli-Palestine conflict. I mean, and in Argentina as well with their leaders. So we have a bunch of power plays going on. A lot of, what's going on with elections and, new leaders, but also, some of these wars that are happening. And, we're just really, the whole earth is going through this phase of, a lot of the energies of, some of the expansive or outer planets that are really affecting us right down to our core. And sometimes it's more like if a key country is affected, how they say sometimes like, America sneezes and the rest of the world catches a cold. So, it's kind of, if you think about it, like if you stub your toe, it's much different than if you stub your nose, right? You're going to get hit a lot harder.
True, yes.
We have a leap year also coming up, which is, I don't know how you feel about leap years, but I absolutely adore leap years because I just feel like, yay, we get an extra day. And it's so odd to end on a 29 and it's like a nice round. Well, it's a number that ends up being a power number, 11.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and if you add it with February, it's like 13, another power number. And I didn't know, just a little bit of trivia. I don't know if you know this, but do you know in England during a leap year that it's considered not only socially acceptable, but in some ways expected that a woman would propose to a man just because it's, especially
interesting.
So I guess, when you're thinking about traditional roles or something, that's the extra day you're allowed to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have anything major happening on that day. And, let us count our blessings because of that. There's just so much coming up. And right now, what we're kind of going through, and we're going to be experiencing this for, a bigger part of this year, is Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is making a square, meaning 90 degrees away from Saturn, the planet of discipline and restriction. So when you get something that wants to expand with something that wants to restrict, you're going to have this kind of tension that blows up. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people would associate Mars with war because Mars is the god of war for sure. But if you're mm-hmm. thinking about this, expansion, restriction, I mean, just look at what we're, again, some of these keynotes that I talked about that's happening around the world there. And in our own personal lives, it really depends on what we've been doing for the last 7 years, especially leading up to this, because Saturn at that time would have been in a different position in relation to Jupiter. It would have had, more of a connection there again. And, it would have been different from a square, different from, a positive type of, or, what astrology traditionally calls a positive type of energy. So if you've been doing what you've been needing to do in the past 7 years or so, if you've been working hard and being diligent, watching your health, just trying to always evolve and get things done at the same time, not slacking off, you're going to find that this year is going to be very particularly rewarding for you. And if not, oh my God, is it going to make you say, pay up? You gotta do it now. So, yeah. And we have Jupiter is also going to be making a conjunction, meaning right next to each other, with the planet Uranus, which is the planet of disruption. So expansion and disruption, we think, we could think explosions there, but we could really think of grand growth. Sometimes that could equal some severe weather events. And we had Pluto that just moved into Aquarius. So everybody's talking about how AI is going to take over the world. And, it's not going to stay in Aquarius forever. It's going to, I can't remember how many years off the top of my head right now, but yeah, it's going to be there for at least a decade. And if you think about it, what is going to take over AI afterwards? Is it going to be not necessarily something that comes that's disruptive, but more something that comes and says, whoa, we got to get this under control. Mm-hmm. So if you think about when the internet first came about, man, it was a free-for-all for a lot of different things. And now look at the amount of restrictions we have with, being shadow banned, or if, there's, what is it? They'll allow you to post, but you might not get the reach. Right.
Right. So,
right. Freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach, as they call it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds right. Now, what year did Skynet? What year did Skynet take over? If we were, Sarah Connor.
It already did.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I couldn't remember the exact year of it. Was it 2023?
I don't remember if it was 2022 or 2023, but it would have the Skynet would have nuked us by now.
Okay, interesting. Sorry, Cindy. I didn't.
No. So it's one of those things when we're thinking about AI that we can't be afraid of it. It's here. We can't. I don't even want to say resistance is futile. If you think about the Borg. Remember the Borg where we all had a kind of hook, right? And mm-hmm. One of the conversations going on after, the implementation of the Borg that one side was having with the other was like, you shouldn't have said resistance is futile. You should have said this is all for our common good. So, there's some kind of There's some kind of manipulation that that would be going on.
We're being told it's good for us, okay, but
Yeah, but at the same time, what can you do? Fight it? I mean, there's not many places left where you could just live off the grid anymore.
Right, right.
And or at least it won't be easy. Before, at least it would have been less severe weather events, and you might be silly to just go out on the grid on your own, off grid on your own. And so yeah, so those are how could I forget to mention? Of course, we got the other huge solar eclipse coming up on April 8th. That's going to be traversing from coming over, it starts in the Pacific Ocean, it goes over the northwestern part of Mexico, over where is it? Texas, all the way up in the diagonal line, all the way up towards Vermont. So,
wow.
Yeah. And the shadow of this eclipse, it covers all of the United States. So all of us, I mean, even if we're not in the path of the eclipse, all of us are going to be affected by this eclipse. So how we could determine how much we're affected by the eclipse are a couple of different things. Of course, one of the things is that in astrology, we would look at your astrology chart and see where it lands on your chart. And in, the other way, you could kind of, we have something called relocation astrology. So you could actually move to another part or travel to another part of the country, of the world, or whatever. And what that does is that it changes your perspective of the planets from the Earth. So a great example of, Jake is going to be all the way in the Pacific Northwest, so he's not going to see the total path of the eclipse, like exactly, like someone over Dallas would be. Exactly. I like to have the visuals you're giving there, Jake. So yeah, so it's but the shadow of the eclipse, the penumbra, is going to be covering all of us. If you're in the direct path of the eclipse, that's what I was talking about, the relocation astrology. You could potentially change the effect of the eclipse on you, for better or for worse. A lot of it deals with intention, of course, too. They kind of want you to prescribe to a school of thought in astrology, and I like to keep my mind pretty open about, I'm open to traditional and Hellenistic and Western and modern and all this other stuff, but I really enjoy the ancient astrology because they bring in omens to mind. So, if you're out there viewing the eclipse and then the eclipse is covered by clouds, well, that's a much different omen than if you just see it happening right in front of you. So we could look at it rather metaphorically and say, well, in ancient times, kings did not like the eclipse. If you think about the sun, it has all these rays. It's like, wearing a crown in some ways. And the kind of eclipse we have this time it totally obscures the crown. Some eclipses, you could still see the crown, but either way, the kings would really, this would matter to kings because, kings wear a crown. And, if you think about like a metaphor of there's the eclipse happening, everybody could see it, it's out in the open, versus, it's hidden behind the clouds, it might come across as, well, the king is going to get killed in front of us, or he's going to get killed behind the scenes kind of thing, or at least lose his crown in front of us, lose his crown behind the scenes. That's not always what an eclipse means when it comes to like leadership. It really is so personal to you in your chart. And I did take the liberty of deciding to look at both of your charts. So yeah. So what's super, now I have to put my nerd glasses on so I could see what everybody.
That's okay. I have to have them for reading for sure. So you're in good company here. I think Jake should as well, but he won't admit it.
Well, is he cool, or is he cool now that he has his glasses on?
We are the cool crowd right here.
Things are so much clearer now.
Really, before I disclose all of this, Jake, are you ready for the truth?
Let me
Truth.
have it. But like I said, spice it up for the listening audience. Spice it up.
Okay.
Drama's good.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so well, the eclipse in your chart, so it's going to be at 19 degrees in the sky that the sun and the moon totally like cover each other. The moon happens between the earth and the sun. So this happens in the part of your chart called the descendant. That's where the planets go to set. So when you see the sun rise and then the sun set, it's where the sun set and all the other planets setting would occur. And it doesn't happen at sunset your time, but that's where it happens in your chart. And that part of the chart is partnerships, your intimate partnerships, your business partnerships. And so you could expect a lot of drama this year. You
haven't met my other half. It's always drama.
Oh gosh.
And kidding people.
Well, that explains why he put the super extra hot sauce on your tie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Maybe it's Sunday. Right? We don't know. So no, I'm kidding. Mercury retrograde. Mercury's going to play into this eclipse. It's going to be pretty close, within 5 degrees of the eclipse. So about maybe a thumb's breadth apart, give or take, if we're doing it like by hand and looking at the sky, that way. So, but that means that it blends into the energy. Mercury is the god of the messenger. And guess what, guys? It's Mercury retrograde, just to add to the confusion. Yay! So I'm kind of expecting that we might have, imagine in the old days, all the chaos that an eclipse would bring. The king would know that it's coming up because he has a body of astrologers that were assigned to let him know at least 2 months ahead of time that an eclipse was coming. But everybody else might not know. So they would run into their houses and they would hide their faces behind their hair until the eclipse.
Oh my.
I don't know the explanation for that. I just know that that's something, tidbits in history here. And so, there's somehow, in other words, that means there's kind of chaos when it comes to some kind of communication, or at least disruption of a communication. Especially since I brought in that energy about Uranus and Jupiter being in the sky that would be close. They're already going to be happening pretty soon, where the engagement of their conjunction, some of us could feel the breezes of it. And some of us are going to feel it more around the 24th of February. And that window goes all the way until about, mid-May, where you could still feel it. And I want to, remind me to talk about world issues with that too, because it's, I'm just looking at charts here and I'm like, oh my God, my heart. But with, getting back to hearts and relationships and Jake and his life, Chiron is also going to be in the sky exactly where the eclipse happens. So you get all this energy, and your descendant is at 19 degrees. All of this is happening in your chart, like simultaneously. So get your coat of armor on for sure. And, no, what I'm saying really is that maybe just watch out for miscommunications. Make sure that the two of you don't hold grudges. Maybe it's a great time to just start from a zero slate, start from, a fresh page, as they say. It's also going to be a very good time if you, I'd have to see you're already married, right? Pretty much, or
fully.
Oh, okay, so well, that's good. I would have to see his chart, but essentially there might be a lot of support that you'd have to give him, possibly a relocation or a change of career for one or both of you. So well, if one of you relocates, the other one kind of has to, but you could see how it, whatever is happening, it's relationships that's going on in your life, business relationships as well. So Jake, it is possible that I don't think that there's a job change coming up for you, but maybe it could be in the works coming up in the next couple of years for you, for sure.
Okay.
So a lot of the connections that you make now are going to play out in about 2 years.
Okay. So I just the stars and planets are coming for me.
They're gonna
Get ready with that baseball bat if I need to smack back. And
We're
don't
on your
piss off,
team, buddy.
and
You know
don't piss
that.
off my other half because anyway. But thank you, Cindy.
I
So
sick my mom on him.
that would be.
Oh,
I'll sick
Jesus.
Roxy on him.
There you
That's
go.
my little pity princess. But so guys, I will still be here, but this is where I have to.
Okay.
I have to.
One quick question in chat from Melissa Becker. Should Jake pick a specific date to launch a new video episode based on the
Ooh,
reading?
That's a good one.
Very good.
actually, this would be a good date. Well, I would maybe do it the day before the eclipse. That would be a good time. And what I would really do, Jake, is don't go hoity-toity about it. Like Mars and Saturn in your chart are going to be conjunct in the 5th house. So that means that if you buckle down and you put a structure to a new plan, whether it be a business venture or anything that you do with any kind of partnerships, anything new that you want to do, as long as you put that structure in, it's going to be phenomenal for you.
Okay. I'm working on some plans right now.
Good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Cindy. I'm still here, folks, if you need me. It's just, I got a day job. Okay. So going off video.
Can you look up Astrologeeks, Cindy's other venture, and drop a link?
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh,
okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. I have to do
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I have to plug my computer in. It's
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
I'm good
I'm
here.
working off of a new one myself, and it's doing really well so far.
So Astrologeeks is a software that my business partner and friend Joseph Milnes created, and he built this all by himself. And the venture that I got into with him was creating something called Meteor, which is astrocartography software. And we're going to be doing it with other kinds of relocation astrology. Astrocartography is basically how the planets tie into angles at your house and where different parts of the world, and of course sometimes your country, your state, could work in your favor or you should stay away from. And I mean, we've probably experienced this. Sometimes you meet someone from, let's say that, anytime that you meet someone from Idaho, you're just like, oh my God, I can't stand this person. It has nothing to do with them really. It's not about them being Idahoan or whatever, or a potato head, right? If we want to think
right. Probably not.
But maybe they're on a line that is not well placed, as a planet, not well placed in your chart, and you just feel like a sense of aggression. Yet there's other people that come from favorable spots, and you immediately, it's not just chemistry, but even before you could deal with them, you're already having a positive outlook about it because there's a positive planetary line going through that area. So we had a breakthrough last year around this time where we figured out how to plot those planetary lines, and they look like a sine wave. They're really pretty cool. And so we launched that informally. And this year what happened was, we couldn't have planned it this way, but we created an animated eclipse path. So no other astrology software has that. I mean, it's like I think you saw it, and you can actually see the path of the eclipse and the shadow, the penumbra around it, and how it covers, a big portion of, of our continent, as a matter of fact. So it's a labor of love. I never, I've always dreamed of this, but I never envisioned this. Joseph Milnes, my partner, he did just about everything with the eclipse lines. He figured out the calculations, he did all the programming, he knew how to implement it into Open Maps and then into Google Maps, and now we're going to put it into the software over our astrocartography lines because, and this is again another spot where the relocation astrology comes in. If you travel to the path of the eclipse, there are spots on this eclipse that would be more ideal for you than others. So, you know, I mean, if you start with your birthplace, you're 100% safe if you happen to be born under the path of the eclipse. But if you venture out of it, that's where the astrocartography comes in, especially. And if you can't look at your own personal astrocartography, what we do is we look at the path of the eclipse to itself. So one of the best places that you could be in, if you're looking in America on the path of the eclipse, is in Texas, because the eclipse would have gone and it would have gotten energy from its own Venus, and it kind of grabs that Venus energy and dumps it onto you. And Venus is the planet of harmony and love and romance and peace and money and all the nice things in life. And what's nice is that when you blend it with the sun and the moon, it makes it very hard to overdo Venus. So it kind of brings a nice balance, again, that harmony there. So, you know, to me, it's fascinating. Once I usually start with astrocartography, I can't shut up. But one other good piece of news is that I got asked to become an instructor at Kepler College. And that was the only body, educational body in the United States that was actually granting degrees, you know, bachelor's degrees in astrology. So now they have, certifications and diplomas, and you know, I enjoy sharing this information with people. It's nice.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, so it's fun to teach it too, because it's a tough, I was banging my head against it for years trying to figure it out. Like, I knew the idea of it, of course, I knew the manifesting energies, just because of how much I've traveled around the world, and I've lived under different lines, and even the same lines sometimes at different latitudes, which makes a difference as well. So, you know, with that, I was totally immersed, but I wanted to get behind the curtains and look at the mechanics behind it, the astronomy behind it, the history behind it. You know me and these things. You saw my pipes in the back of the phone, how involved I was. So
oh, yes.
So when we look at your chart, Wendy, the eclipse is going to happen in your third house. So that's communication. That's how things go around with you in your neighborhood. That's also going to be about transportation. It might be, you know, if you don't, I think you're an only child, right? So it's not going to.
Not technically, but close enough.
Okay, that would affect the close enough, actually.
Okay.
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. And, you know, you have an interesting, you know, I like the way that the planets cluster. Are you, you know, you might, you know, I know you might not want to hear this, but I think you're going to move. You're going to change neighborhoods.
I actually did that right at the end of last year. Will I be doing it again?
I think you might, you might be relocating one more time.
Okay.
Actually, yes, you will be. So, but it's going to be into a place that you really, 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 really like. So it's super favorable for you. Health is going to start to improve, but it's saying you also have to watch your health as well. And money is involved. So it just feels like you're going to have balance with money. You're going to be on one heck of an amazing budget, but you know, it's you having to watch money, which is the factor that makes your money good for you, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, quite.
So you're going to have a lot of happiness coming up in this year. And, you know, that's going to kind of carry over with you, especially over the next year or two, where it just feels like you're getting more optimistic, you're getting out of a funk, you're just going to just overall be happier. And there is something more positive that happens with your health too. So
interesting. Okay.
New beginnings. Maybe
Yay!
you know, there's something else, you podcast or something.
Hey, that would be fun.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed is, and let me see if I could get that chart up so I could talk to it a bit better. So hold on, let me get that chart.
Okay.
Okay, so it's hiding, but I'll get it anyway.
Okay. Now, it's Relocation Astrology is the Facebook page, right?
It's Relocation Astrology with Meteor.
Okay.
So I'm going to
Okay.
just come out and say it. There is another relocation astrology group that I was a part of. I think you saw some of the drama that happened.
Yes, yes.
So I had my own group, and it was only, I inherited it from somebody that left Facebook. So she gave it to me, and it had like 1,200 people. And in 2.5 years, I grew it to 25,000 people.
Yes.
And, some dog barf came by and stole it from me. So, it's a dog barf room with dog barf information led by dog barf. So, but my group is Relocation Astrology and Astrocartography with Meteor. And
Okay.
I think maybe later on Jake could put like a link there, or I'll put the link there after show's over.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So let me see if I could get the chart that I'm looking for. If I can't, I'll just go by memory.
Okay. Okay.
Because I don't want to take too long with this.
Jake, were you recording this? Because I forgot.
I don't remember him recording it, so
I don't either, and it's not saying anything about it, but yeah. I was just putting that out there if he was listening.
I sent the request to the host, whoever the host is.
Okay.
But it's going to be on Facebook Live anyway, so
it will be. It just better with the recording from Zoom when we put it on the Spreaker. Mm-hmm. There we go. Thank you, Jake. Or Cindy, or whoever. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for remembering.
Thank you, technomancers.
And let me just relocate my chart here. Let me edit and put a different location, because we're going to talk about something, where is it? Here we go. And let me go ahead a few more days. Oops. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, I'm going to do this. Remove this chart. Sorry, I thought I had it in the background, and actually I did not. So
that's okay. No problem whatsoever. Just trying to keep a little.
Yeah, no dead air, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I see what's happening.
Oh, Melissa, that. Yes, that's right. Behind the curtain, working the techno magic.
Isn't that nice?
That is. It is very, very nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we have something that will happen near the end of April. And as you see, I mean, we got this kind of grotesque thing that's happening over in Gaza. And, it's, and in some ways we're kind of looking at it and wondering, when is this going to end? How much are they going to chase after Hamas? And, they're hiding on, it's like a whack-a-mole in some ways, like, oh, they're hiding under this hospital, they're hiding in this mosque, they're hiding among the innocent people. Let's just bomb everything. So it's like neither side of them wants to bend. But near the end of April, that transiting Uranus and Jupiter go over the sun, S-U-N, of the natal chart of Israel. Israel has an incorporation date of May 14th, 1948. So very close to their own birthday. And they signed it at around 4 p.m. where they incorporated everything. So, it's nice with modern nations. We could actually get these things when United Nations are involved. It doesn't happen behind closed doors. Like with a coup d'etat, you can't really get a good date for an incorporation, for instance.
Right.
It happens sometime at night, right? So, Venus is going to be nearby the descendant of Israel too. I mean, I don't have to go around and say it's going to be explosive. That kind of speaks for itself, but it looks like Israel gets its way. overall. So whether you find that good news or bad news, that's what I'm seeing kind of happen. And
Okay.
I really just, my biggest fear was that it's going to be like this whole huge regional war that would just end up pulling the rest of the world in, because,
Yeah.
once, they were talking about Egypt, that it looks like Israel is bombing a little bit too close to their border, which breaks the treaty, that Camp David Accord that Egypt had with Israel. So,
Mhm.
it means that it's crossing a red line. It's an act of war. And what happens if those refugees spill in to Egypt's backyard in the Sinai? Well, what's to stop Israel from saying, screw this, I'm going to bomb here? And it's like, what are you doing in my backyard? I mean, we didn't invite this.
Right, right.
So yeah, I mean, it means it means it kind of weakens, it thins out what Israel is doing, as far as its focus in Gaza, but also what's going on in the West Bank and what's happening with their Lebanese border. And it's just not good for anybody. So if it the Lebanese border might attack more, and then you have Hezbollah coming in, which means that Iran comes in, which means that China and Russia have interests, and oy vey.
World War III.
I think a lot of and I think a lot of what we could do is prayer really counts for a lot. The power of prayer,
Yes.
like to ask for, yes, we're thinking of ourselves, we want better lives for ourselves, but when we ask for the world to be better and everything else around us to be better, so I'm just inviting everybody to pray for positivity, for good things, not
Yes.
for anyone's alliteration or upsetness or anything. So these are like some of the major things that we have happening, but what questions do you guys have? Are there any interests of people watching this?
Yeah, Melissa was asking where one would get a hold of you for one of these amazing meetings.
Thanks. At my website, www.kansascityastrology.com. And yeah, you can find me through there. You could either contact me, or if you're ready to book a reading, I have a calendar that's up and ready. And I have a 25% discount because the Chiefs won that by 20, with 25 points to 22. So
With like 2 seconds left in the game. Yay!
Oh my gosh. Isn't that so? I think they did that in their last 6 seconds, right?
Yes, they did.
I absolutely love that, because do you know how many people just quit and they're that close to getting it? So this is like a very, very good model, a very good example that no matter what, you just push through to the end, because the best thing that could happen is you get what you want.
Yeah, yes.
And the worst thing that could happen is, gosh darn it, you did your best and it wasn't meant to happen, but you'll have closure there immediately.
Yeah.
It's not walking away from something. So chances are you're going to get it. So, I really love that the Chiefs did that. Are you ready for the parade?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go babysit some dogs while some people pretty far out in Richmond, Missouri, go down to the game. So that'll all work out better for me. I don't do big crowds anyway.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
especially
I'm too short.
It's going to be pretty rowdy.
So, I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be close to riot, as a matter of fact. So I hope that there are extra security and police that are called in, because
they're saying they're all going to be on the clock.
Okay, good. Because I'm seeing a lot of things breaking, and like not out of anger, but more, when like, if you've seen people when they win and they're just like, like Vikings, once they win their invasion, they're like,
the berserker,
berserker
rage. Yes,
exactly. Yes. So, what do we have? Any other questions?
We do. Chris is asking if you have any election predictions.
Okay, this is very touchy. Are you guys ready for this? So I
Gird
want to
your
say,
loins. Mhm.
yeah. So I'm just going to say I'm kind of like agnostic, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's whatever comes about. Like we cast our votes and majority wins, or electoral vote wins at least. So I looked at both Biden's natal chart with the transits and Trump's natal chart with the transits. And what Trump has coming up is, one thing that's going on now is that he has Uranus, I believe, if I mean, I didn't look at it for like 2 weeks, but I believe he had Uranus, the planet of disruption, happening over his midheaven, which is a career point. And you kind of see that happening right now, where, is he going to jail? Is he not going to jail? What's going on with court?
Right,
How come,
right.
and he's kind of disrupted the way that campaigns are done. Like he hasn't, the debates, there's some of them he's like, I'm not going to the debates because I'm busy with court, or I have my own thing. And in the meantime, he's been taking court and turning it into his podium somehow. And even though he's not showing up to these debates, he's still, winning a lot of these majorities in his, where was it? Iowa and South Carolina, where, wow, he was like, this was like landslide. So, I mean, he's disruptive. Of course, we know this about him, but life is disruptive to him. But what happens around the time of the elections is transiting Jupiter, that planet of expansiveness and bounty and good luck and just general, like, bestowing good things on you, occurs right over his sun, his SUN. So, that's like two lights shining on each other, two major gods in good terms with each other. And in his chart, it is in very good terms. According to the astrology, it looks like he wins.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
Interesting and terrifying all at the same time.
If it happens, I mean, I'm gonna
If,
blame
if it does, it does. There we go. But
yeah.
yeah.
So
thank
I
you
hope I'm
very
wrong
much.
with that. So yeah.
I won't go there. I won't get started. I'll stay off the soapbox.
Yeah,
Now Melissa's asking, should she be reading her rising sign or just focus on her sun sign for daily astrology insights?
I like both. I like that you look at both. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what her sun and her rising is?
Do you know, Melissa? Melissa's awesome. She does some of the ghost movies, documentaries with Jake, and a lot of research. She's quick on that computer.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. She helped me with that one up here and up north of Kansas City, and it was sweet. And hi, Chandler. Good to see you.
Hi, Chandler. Nice. It's nice that you're getting a lot of your, I recognize these names.
Yes. Yeah.
And Chris. So I don't know. I'm not looking at I don't see the Facebook. I'm just looking at the charts and Zoom. So I'm relying on you to be the eyes.
I'm trying to be eyeballs.
Are there any other questions out there, or?
I'm not seeing any right this moment. I had one, and now it went away when I asked a different one.
So we do have
Aquarius sun.
Oh, those are fun. Aquarius sun, and what's her rising?
Quiet. It's all quiet. Cue the crickets.
So we do
Sagittarius rising. Sorry.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. So no wonder she's adventurous and looking into, the paranormal. That's, that combination. Some people might think it's too much, but those people are not your people. Those are the ones that are wearing the lampshade on their heads at the party, right? And stuck in the corner.
Oh my.
Yeah. So you're the fun one. You're the one that keeps the party going. And I don't know what her moon sign is, but you know, it could either add to her exuberance and her adventurousness, or it could be, you know, the balancing factor there. And I don't know how the eclipse will necessarily affect you, but you know, I'd really have to see where it is in the chart. But overall, what would be going on with you for the remainder of 2020 is, you know, you have to prioritize your career and yourself. So it's that balance between outworld and inworld. So as long as you do that, you're going to have some major inner growth happening. And around maybe beginning of September, you're going to have a lot more evolution where, you know, in your home life. And you're going to find that you probably have a bigger circle of people or friends around you coming around too. So nice thing for 2024, especially with that Sag energy.
Joseph Milnes is the man behind it. He's in the chat room as well, and he's giving her some advice. And let's see. Chandler's saying, and he's got a Taurus sun with Scorpio rising, and then with a Virgo moon.
Thank God you got that Virgo moon. You know, who is this? Is who? What, that was Chandler, or what was this?
That was Chandler. Yep,
Chandler. Okay. Everything in your house has an address, I bet. And you know, part of you though, like, it's an interesting thing, because with the Scorpio rising and the Virgo moon, that precision, I mean, you could get razor precision, or laser precision rather. Razor too, because sometimes Scorpio could be pretty cutting. However, yeah, and you know, Virgo is not necessarily known as being moody, but they are temperamental. So it's nice when things are in order around you and predictable around you. That's like where you thrive the best. And you must have an amazing amount of willpower. And probably what happens with you, because you're a Taurus sun, is sometimes it's about willpower. I mean, that Scorpio rising will give you that extra push or determination. Other times, though, it's about a mindset. And you can't force a mindset. You can't, I mean, it's kind of like if there's a train on a track, you have to kind of slip it onto the next track, right? It has to get into where the tracks switch. You can't just go with your train onto the other track. But when that happens, you know, when that for Taurus, and especially with your Scorpio rising, that can happen. And once you get on that track, oh my gosh, there's no stopping you. This might have happened a few times in your life already. So I would look forward to it happening again. That, you know, especially with your Virgo moon, the creature of habit. And of course, you're really, I mean, as I'm a Taurus, I'm a card carrying slob. So sometimes Taurus has a tendency to be, you know, to just big deal if you don't wash the dishes immediately after dinner. It could, you know, you'll take care of it tomorrow, but the Virgo moon is going to make you want to take care of it and maybe not even sleep unless those dishes are done. So it's a matter of like that kind of, you know, for you, especially with the Scorpio and the Virgo, it's spiritual hygiene and physical hygiene around you. That's going to make your Taurus shine at its best.
Cool. Now, Melissa was back and she said she's Pisces moon.
Oh, that's very sweet. So she's psychic. No wonder she's into the paranormal. I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually seen them through her own methods, not necessarily technology, although she wouldn't be averse to it as an Aquarius, but definitely as you know, that Pisces moon is so sweet. I mean, sometimes it could be in its own little world there, but I think that escape is necessary for you with the energy of the combined Sagittarius and Aquarius there. So it does add some kind of balance for you, but it also, it gives you a psychicness that's unusual, that, you know, you can't describe like everybody else describes their psychicness. definitely you have your antennas out there, and you'd be sympathetic to the dead, maybe intrigued by them too.
Yeah, Joseph saying Virgo moon family.
Okay, so
Yeah.
family, I'm not, yeah, maybe.
Him probably following Melissa.
Oh,
Mhm.
Virgos are, you know, with his combination too, predictability is super important. So it's interesting that he's into paranormal or astrology or something too, where, most people would think a Taurus would be stuffy, and a lot of them are, I do have to admit. But especially with that, the Scorpio would give him the sense of there's more to this world than what we see in the material. But all of them would need, his Taurus, his Scorpio, and his Virgo would need predictability in life in order to feel calmness.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's like a
The
major
order.
thing for you.
Yeah, they gotta.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh no, Joseph saying no. I'm saying there are Virgo moon people in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I probably got it out of order. So, and we all know that astrology, it might as well be Greek to me for some reason. It just does not compute in my head, and I apologize for that. But I do love listening to you guys talk about it, though.
Well, Western astrology is like Greek. It really, that was probably like one of the last stops before it became more, more became before it came into the hands of, the West, so to speak. And they got a lot of their information from the Egyptians, and they also got information from the Mesopotamians. So that's where modern day Iraq is. And then what they did is they rewrote it and they said, we own it because we wrote it.
One that always what am I looking? A parallel is the Mesoamericans, and how the Aztecs and all of that entire demographic came up with so much of it as well, but very probably with no contact with each other. That always makes me go, wow.
You wonder, because with the Mesopotamian and the Mesoamerican, they have a lot of similarities. So their Anunnaki look almost exactly the same. And you could see the pyramids that are built, say, in Mexico, that are step pyramids, and they're temples of worship. And if you look at the ziggurats in Iraq, they were step pyramids, I guess. I mean, not exactly pyramids, but they're ziggurats. But let's call them pyramids. And they were temples of worship. That was not like the Egyptian pyramids that were places of burial. And they didn't have
right.
Some of them had steps, but they weren't built for worship. They were built for enclosure and then power. Just getting all that pointed. And so and if you look at even the Amazonians, there are some Amazonians that have, they're very good at archery. And what's really interesting is so Mesopotamia kind of, it's right next door to Persia, and they were very excellent at archery as well. But if you look at the DNA, they would always swear up and down that some of our people had migrated because of some catastrophic event, and they ended up in the Amazon. And there's so many cultural similarities, because when it came to the archery, some of these women, believe it or not, because they were so into defending what they have, would actually cut off the breast of the dominant hand, so that when they pulled back,
oh my,
in Persia, and they did that in the Amazon. Like, what are the chances? I mean, but when they did DNA testing, they actually found, oh my gosh, they really are related. They are
the markers.
Yeah. So who's, I'm pretty sure that would have been pretty similar with the Mesopotamians and the Mesoamericans too. I know some people really get very upset and we're like, no, we sprouted like this and whatever. I mean, we're all humans here on the same earth. So,
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't there. I can't say for sure, but
right.
there's something going on.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Or some people talk about the, what is it? The 100 monkey syndrome, where if 100 monkeys come up with, an idea or a eureka moment, then all the monkeys around us would also have that eureka moment too. Not necessarily, more like a collective conscious is better to say than a eureka.
Than mass hypnotism, or however I've heard such things described before.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if only one or two monkeys know how to, use a rock to crack open a coconut. Although I don't know why a coconut and monkeys would be mixed together. I don't know any. I don't think that those two match. But let's just pretend.
Okay.
So if a monkey, only one or two know how to use, get the idea of using a rock to crack open a coconut. Well, maybe it's only going to be those one or two. But then if 100 monkey knows, no, then all of a sudden it's like instinct for all the other monkeys around the world to know how to do it as well.
It becomes, what is that, is that a DNA memory? Not DNA memory.
That's what they call it, the collective conscience.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Rather. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe we all tap into the same ethers, and we could share the information from the psychic cloud that way.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It could be a place that intuition occasionally dips into.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you wonder where people and animals are born with this instinct.
Right.
I mean, that to me would always get me scratching my head. And they were, how it was in school back then, like, because we said so. And it's like, whoa, yeah. Okay, all right.
All right, then.
Sorry for asking. But, I tend to think I tend to wonder if, well, part of it might be DNA memory, as you said, the memory that's passed on into us. But I wonder if some of it too is that, that psychic cloud, that collective conscious again. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas on that in the audience.
Well, Chris says, thoughts in the ether, but Chris also says all the time that it's all connected, and I don't disagree with him.
Yeah, we are all connected. Some are less connected than others, but we're still all connected anyway.
Right. And Melissa's saying that they've actually conducted studies on this. So I guess wow, epigenetics. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. So the environment on our genetics.
Okay. Thank you. I was thinking, I have no idea what that one means.
Yeah. That was
very cool.
I was in before, changing into this world.
Mm-hmm.
I overlapped in, well, it kind of had to do with like, they called it omics for short, because that was like the suffix. So it was like phenomics, genomics, and metabolomics, and how that all ties in together. And of course, our environment, our epidemiology ties in.
Oh, epidemiology and genetics. Okay, got it. My bad. Hey, I had low blood pressure today, and it affects me. It makes me just a little bit slower to catch up. Sorry.
No, not at all. I didn't spell out epidemiology, so yeah.
Neat. Any other questions, guys? Collective consciousness studies with monkeys have been studied. Oh, yeah, right, Melissa, sorry.
Oh, you know what? I bet you Elon Musk would have been looking into that too, because he is putting those neural implants in the monkeys as a test. And
is that for the
Neuralink, I think?
Yeah, I think I saw something about it recently, and it would help with, was it seizures? Or
I think it was something like that. And then also they were talking about it helping with Alzheimer's. But they could remote control you again. This is the Borg, I guess, kind of taking place. Who was it that wrote about this? And it was a fiction book. It wasn't Kafka. you know, where they put the helmets on your head and, um, you know, everybody was just kind of watching TV at the same time, and it was very hard. Like, you know, you thought according to the way the state wanted you to think.
Oh, was it
Bergen-
1984? The
I forget too.
I forget. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're not the only one who forgets. You know, I always rely on my husband to be the world word placement for that, because I forgot, it's a big name, but long story short, it's about kind of you know, people do worry that they could remote control you if you have this implant in. I don't know if it's going to get that far so soon in our lifetimes, maybe not, but you know, the whole thing is behave and you won't be targeted. So
Jake has he says leave the monkeys alone. They have filthy humans to use. Chandler's trying to find his fiance's chart.
were we doing an hour today, or how long were we staying on?
Well, I was thinking an hour. If we do have more questions and input, I'm not opposed to staying on, or if you're getting tired, I know we're here in the same time zone and all.
I know you guys are just getting back into the saddle, so I appreciate that. You know, the show.
Oh yeah. No, I appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, no problem. And thanks about, you know, the software plugin, because with Meteor, I mean, you know, if maybe Joseph could drop that link in there for the group and what we just created, because it is disruptive. It is phenomenal. And it's something, you know, look, it's crazy to be able to build something like that. And, you know, if we want to plug into somebody's brain, let's try to plug into Joseph's brain. Maybe not. Let's protect Joseph and not do that.
Okay. Now Melissa's saying there was a monkeys episode that made fun of the helmet thing. So,
well, close enough.
Right. No implant. Somebody hack your implant and you're done.
Yeah, unless you're just, the implant is, you know, your brain that makes you smarter, and there's a lot of people that need that around us. So
I won't disagree whatsoever. Wisdom's been trying to catch you, but you always seem to outrun it.
oh god. So how's the best pit bull dad ever? Jacob Rice.
The day job. I like the job, don't get me wrong. But it interferes with me doing things like this and, you know, playing with my puppies.
No.
Yeah, poor thing.
Are they pit bull puppies?
Well, I mean, I have 5. One is not a pit bull. Ollie is not a pit bull. He is a Doberman, either black lab, maybe a black shepherd. The others are all pit bulls, though.
Wow. They get a bad rap, but I hear they're really, really good dogs.
Yeah, my kids are just cuddle monsters.
You're a good daddy. You're a good pit bull daddy.
I try. But sometimes, let me just tell you, you know, like, unlike human kids, when you've had enough and they need a timeout, I can put them in the crate with a rawhide and we're good.
Exactly. Now, Melissa's saying she loved this episode and hope that you get a return visit. And Cindy always gets a return visit because she is the best here. So
I've been doing the show with you since when? Was it 2016? Yeah.
If not earlier, yeah. Yeah, you came a couple years after Seth and I started. So, okay.
Yeah, I came around the time that Travis was and you were doing the show together.
Right.
Yeah, because I think I was over one episode and I didn't show up, and then you found out I was in the hurricane. You were like, oh, what a really good excuse. So,
that was, yes. I then I was worried.
Thank God I came out in one piece. You know?
Yes, completely.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure
Okay.
today, and thank you guys for all your questions and your interaction. It was really fun. And Jacob, really, that's an amazing chart that you have coming up this year.
Okay, I'll hit you up for I'll hit you up for the write up. Okay.
And if you find mine, you can just type a little something in or whatever if you like.
Yeah, for sure, no problem.
I had gotten I helped McKean Moonshadow, who was Roman Delgado.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he's trying out runes now, so I let him do just kind of a general rune reading on me. And said that there was a positive male strong energy that was going to be influencing me. Well, I was curious if that and your reading meshed in any way, but that was just a thought. That was a question if I needed a question.
So yes, and getting you energized and inspired in some ways.
Okay.
Invigorated. So and structured, as a matter of fact. So there is going to be someone that comes probably second half of the year, and you're going to have a good connection with endeavors with him. So it's not a romantic connection. It's more of
I'm too old for that.
Well, I had a client that was 96, and he just got married to a young chippy of 84.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Congratulations to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know. It could have added a few more years of his life, right? So,
or taking it away.
Yeah, and he was, to be that age and still like active and everything. I mean, yeah, who knows? Like he's probably, I'm sure he's going to be doing good. But yeah, with you, it's definitely, kind of business, kind of friendship. I think, these are the kind of connections that you have with guys anyway, where, you're
quite
not
often.
Yeah, like kind of part colleague, part friend, part business type of thing. And, so yeah, there's going to be a good harmony between the two of you. However, sometimes he might irritate you just because, you don't like getting pushed around either. So,
right.
And sometimes, there's Mars and Saturn involved. So that Mars energy could sometimes be poking or aggressive.
Okay.
But
cool.
Overall, very good. Yeah.
Okay. Yay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody who has watched, listened, interacted with us. It's been fantastic. Lots of fun. We've got red snow tomorrow, which this is because all of the school districts around Kansas City have canceled classes for the Chiefs victory Super Bowl parade thing going on, and it's not the red snow that is up closer to the Arctic, which is a bacteria. I think it's a bacteria, and it lives under the snow. And I'm doubting that if we got red snow down here, that it would be that, and it probably won't actually cause women to be barren either. So I tried looking it up, seeing if there was any folklore or hints, and there just wasn't much.
I was gonna say, if we're getting red snow down here, you better take your iodine, because that radiation is gonna wipe you out.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, we don't really have anything planned right at this moment. We're going to get Jake and his cronies on, talk about some more documentaries and some fun places they've been investigating.
Melissa and Merle, you heard that? You cronies.
Yeah.
If you said jabronis, I'd be like, okay.
And I like that, bronies.
All All right, kids. Well, Jake, if you want to take us out, then
All right.
I guess
Thank
we're
you.
done.
This has been a production of Mystic Moon Cafe and Radio. Join us again at some point in the near future for more paranormal, mystical, and mythical tales. Until then,
Woo!
have a
Until then.
lovely evening.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.